The late summer sun cast fiery streaks over Atlanta's wet streets, shimmering like molten gold on the asphalt. Maya Thompson, a lieutenant commander in Navy SEALs, guided her old pickup truck along familiar roads. Inside the cab, a bouquet of wildflowers lay on the passenger seat, a gift for her mother, whom she had not seen in almost a year. Soft jazz played on the radio, a gentle balm to her weary mind after months deployed overseas. She stopped at a red light, took a deep breath, and closed her eyes for a moment, letting the music and the warm breeze soothe her. Suddenly, a shrill siren shattered the calm. Maya's eyes snapped open to see flashing lights in her rear-view mirror. Instinct took over. She pulled to the curb, killed the engine, and placed both hands on the steering wheel. The patrol car door opened. A tall white officer with a hard expression approached. Bradley. His hand hovered near his holster as he barked. "Out of the car!" "License and registration." Maya kept her voice steady. "Yes, officer. I'm complying." She handed over her documents through the window, meeting his gaze with calm resilience. Bradley barely glanced at them before scribbling on his notepad. Speeding. Ran a red light. Resisted a lawful stop. "Sir, I respectfully disagree. I was stopped at the red light and driving within the speed limit. Don't argue with me. Sign it." He shoved the citation at her. A small crowd began to gather, curious and uneasy. Maya signed, knowing the battle would be fought in court. As Bradley strode back to his cruiser, Maya restarted her truck, her hands trembling, not from fear, but from a rising tide of anger and disappointment. Ahead, the road home felt longer than ever. Night fell over Atlanta, with streetlights casting long, pale golden streaks onto the damp pavement. Maya returned home, a small wooden house where her mother had lived for more than 30 years. As she stepped inside, the familiar scent of herbal tea drifted through the air, but it wasn't enough to soothe her troubled mind. She placed a bouquet of wildflowers on the table and sat by the window, gazing at the moon peeking through the old tree's branches. The room was silent, save for the ticking of the clock and the soft whistle of night winds slipping through the window crack. Maya untied the ribbon from her hair, letting her long curls fall loosely. She leaned her head against the window frame, her eyes distant. Outside, the faint sound of a car horn echoed, stirring memories of that afternoon. Maya closed her eyes gently. Memories surged like a fierce torrent. Sweaty nights in the Middle Eastern desert, times carrying wounded comrades under a hail of bullets, the roar of helicopter blades above. She saw her father's face, the man who fell in the Iraq War, and heard his whispered words from nights before battle. "Hold to justice, and you will never lose your way." Tears streamed down her cheeks, not from fear, but from the shame of being looked down upon in her own homeland because of the color of her skin. A Special Forces officer who had faced death on the front lines, now falsely accused by a man wearing the badge of justice, but acting unjustly. Maya wiped her tears, stood up, and went to her desk. She opened her laptop, inserted the memory card from her dash cam. The screen lit up, replaying the afternoon scene. Her car stopped perfectly at the line, the red light reflected on the windshield. The patrol car's flashing lights, Bradley approaching with hostile eyes. Maya played the footage again and again, examining each detail, each frame. With every viewing, her resolve strengthened. I will fight. Fight with the truth. She sent the video to her lawyer and an old friend in internal affairs, with short message, "I need justice." After sending it, she leaned back in the chair, closed her eyes. Outside, the night wind kept blowing, carrying the burdens of a soldier returned from the battlefield, now stepping into a new war, a war for what's right, right in her own homeland. The day of the first trial arrived. A tense atmosphere hung over the Atlanta courthouse. Outside, crowds gathered, holding banners demanding justice. Reporters aimed their cameras and microphones, ready to capture every moment. Inside the courtroom, all eyes turned to Maya as she entered, wearing her formal military uniform, the ribbons and medals on her chest glinting under the lights. Maya's lawyer rose, his voice firm. "Your Honor, my client stands before you today not because she broke the law, but because she was falsely accused. We request permission to present dashcam footage as evidence." The large screen flickered to life. The courtroom fell silent as the video played. Maya's truck stopping precisely at the line. The red light reflected clearly on the windshield. The patrol car approaching. Bradley walking up with a hostile look. Gasps and murmurs filled the room. The judge banged his gavel. Order! His stern gaze fixed on Bradley. Officer Bradley, what do you have to say for yourself? Bradley stammered, sweat forming on his brow. I must have been mistaken. The lighting, the vehicle's movement, I misread it. The murmurs grew louder. Maya sat still, hands clasped tightly, her eyes calm but resolute. Her lore continued. We moved to dismiss all charges and call for an inquiry into Officer Bradley's conduct. The judge declared a recess for further investigation. Outside, the crowd erupted in chants. Justice for Maya? As Maya stepped out, hands reached out in support and admiring eyes followed her. Inside her, the fire for truth burned stronger than ever. After the first trial, Maya's case became the focus of media attention. Every step she took in public was followed by cameras, but it didn't deter her. In the shadows of the city, a darker truth slowly surfaced. One night, as Maya returned home, the phone rang. On the other end was Marcus, a renowned investigative journalist, known for exposing corruption in law enforcement. Maya, I have information you need to know, Marcus said quickly, his voice tense. Bradley isn't just an officer abusing his power. He's part of a corrupt network within the force. Cover-ups, planted evidence, even bribes from drug traffickers. Maya was silent for a few seconds. She took a deep breath. Do you have proof? Not enough to go to court yet, but I'm gathering it, and I need your help. That evening, they met in a small cafe on the outskirts of town. Marcus spread documents, photos, and notes on the table between them. The warm light cast serious shadows across their faces. We need a witness. Someone who's been a victim, or someone inside the department willing to speak out, Marcus said, his gaze locked on Maya. Maya nodded. I'll reach out to old contacts. I still have people in internal affairs I can trust. In the days that followed, Maya and Marcus quietly investigated. They met other victims who had been intimidated by Bradley and his associates. One night, after leaving a witness's home, a mysterious car tailed them. Maya, drawing on her Special Forces training, led Marcus through dark alleys to shake the pursuit. We're stirring up a hornet's nest now, Marcus panted as they stopped by the riverbank. All the more reason to keep going, Maya replied, her eyes shining in the night. The day of the final decisive trial arrived. The courthouse was packed, the air thick with tension. Outside, the crowd held banners and chanted, Justice for Maya. The media broadcast every moment live, the whole nation watching this case that had become a symbol of the fight against injustice. Maya entered the courtroom, dressed in her crisp formal uniform, medals glinting under the lights. Her gaze was steady, ready to face the truth. Opposite her sat Bradley, pale and avoiding her eyes. Maya's lawyer stood. Your Honor, today we present the full evidence gathered by independent investigators and the press. Testimonies from victims intimidated by Bradley, internal police documents, and surveillance footage of staged incidents. The big screen lit up. The room fell silent as undeniable proof unfolded. A former internal affairs officer took the stand, voice trembling. I kept silent out of fear, but today I must speak the truth. The judge banged the gavel. Officer Bradley, do you have anything to say? Bradley trembled, sweat pouring down his face. I was under pressure. I was following orders. Please, give me a chance. Maya's lawyer stepped forward. A chance? Did you think about giving others a chance when you trampled on justice and lives? Murmurs of outrage filled the room. The judge declared, the court finds Maya Thompson not guilty. A full investigation into the police department is hereby ordered. Outside, the crowd erupted in cheers. Maya stood among them, feeling the warmth of supportive embraces and grateful words. Inside, the fire for justice burned bright, knowing this was just the beginning of a new journey. After the trial victory, Maya chose neither rest nor celebration. She knew justice wasn't just a verdict, but a long journey to change the community and society. In the very first days after court, Maya began what she had long dreamed of. She opened a free self-defense class for women and children in poor neighborhoods, places long plagued by violence and injustice. In the small room beside an old church, voices rang out confidently. Be brave, be strong, protect yourself. Maya stood at the center of the circle, her eyes filled with pride. The children looked at her like a real hero. Mothers grasped her hands after class, tears streaming down their faces. Thank you for giving us hope. Not stopping there, Maya partnered with social organizations, advocating for police reform, demanding transparency in operations, and strengthening community oversight. Her speeches at conferences and schools were shared across social media, inspiring millions. One evening, standing at a University Hall podium, Maya looked out at a packed audience. We cannot change the past, she said, her voice resonating. But together we can build a better future, where no one lives in fear of those sworn to protect justice. Thunderous applause filled the room, mingling with chants of her name. Maya smiled, knowing the flame of justice she had ignited would burn in the hearts of many for a long time. As time passed, Maya's name became known not just for the trials or her self-defense classes. She became a familiar face at national forums on judicial reform and social equality. Schools, youth organizations, and minority communities constantly invited her to share her story. One day, Maya was invited to an international human rights conference in New York. Standing at the podium, looking out over an audience filled with people from all over the world, she saw empathy and hope shining in their eyes. We may differ in skin color, language, or faith, Maya said firmly, but our longing for justice and freedom is the same, and it begins when each of us dares to speak out. After the conference, Maya began writing her first book, telling the story of her journey from a SEAL officer to a symbol of the fight for justice. The book quickly became a source of inspiration for millions of readers around the world. Maya knew the road ahead would still hold many challenges, but now she was no longer alone. Beside her were thousands, millions of people who shared the same dream, and the flame of justice she had helped light would continue to burn, guiding those lost in the darkness.